WNBA players facing racist abuse from fans during a playoff game. I guess this is why they call them fanatics.
WNBA rookie phenom Caitlin Clark has finished her first pro season and has already left an undeniable impact on the league. In just 1 year, Clark has been credited with drawing countless new followers to help the league break attendance and TV ratings records. However, Clark does not approve of all the league's new followers. During the Indiana Fever's exit interviews Friday after the team's season-ending playoff loss to the Connecticut Sun, Clark was asked about a statement released by the WNBA that condemned racist, derogatory, or threatening comments directed at players, coaches, and other figures in the league. The statement came after Sun forward Alyssa Thomas accused Fever fans of racism. Clark denounced anyone following the WNBA who makes prejudicial comments toward players. Let's see what Clark said.
Yeah, it's definitely upsetting. I don't think nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats. Those aren't fans, those are...
It's heartbreaking to see Clark and other athletes face this kind of hate. Trolls have no place in sports. Connecticut Sun star Alyssa Thomas pointed directly at Indiana Fever fans after the team's win in its playoff matchup, while her teammate, DiJonai Carrington, revealed on Instagram an email she had received filled with racial slurs. Let's see what Thomas said.
And we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it. And basketball is headed in a great direction, but no, we don't want fans that are going to degrade us and call us.
It's sad to see players like Thomas face this kind of hate. Race and racism have become frequent talking points relating to Clark's presence and the attention it has brought to women's basketball over the last few years. Clark has been on the receiving end of racially charged comments from fans and prognosticators since her ascent to stardom. ESPN's Pat McAfee referred to Clark as a white beep during an episode of his nationally televised show June 3rd. McAfee used the term during a discussion about how much popularity Clark was bringing to the league compared to other players. Let's see what McAfee said about Clark.
Football. But I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white bitch.
McAfee, that's rude. You should learn some manners how to respect woman McAfee. Later regret and apologized. In May, The View host Sunny Hostin said during an episode of that show that Clark's popularity was due in part to white privilege. Meanwhile, several opposing players, including longtime college and pro rival Angel Reese, have claimed to be on the receiving end of racist attacks from WNBA fans. LSU star Angel Reese after being eliminated by Caitlin Clark and Iowa Saeed.
So I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, they ride for her. And I respect that respectfully, but sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that. But when it comes to death threats, like I'm talking about people have come down to my address, follow me home. Like it's come down to that. Multiple occasions, people have made AI pictures of me like naked. Literally.
Really?
They have sent it to my family members. My family members are like, uncles are sending it to me like,
no.
Are you naked on Instagram?
Reese has claimed she has been the victim of widespread online harassment, and it first ramped up when she and her college team, LSU, defeated Clark and Iowa in the 2023 NCAA Women's Basketball Championship game. When LSU held a big lead in the final minutes of that game, Reese pointed to her ring finger in a now infamous photo that angered some of Clark's fans. On her podcast, Reese said that moment changed my life forever. Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy reposted a video of the clip with the caption, "Classless piece of S-porn on X." It's a post that had 79.5 million views on X at the time of publication. No matter what people say, let's have a look on Clark's impressive performance.
Davis, time winding down. Are they going to get the ball up in time? Clark for the win! Yeah! She does it time and time again, the 40-piece, and walks off with the W.
Listen, this is what Caitlin Clark does, folks. Logo threes. It's her signature. That is the most Caitlin Clark way
When Reese and LSU lost in that year's Final Four to Clark and Iowa, Reese cried at the press podium about the threats she had received over the last year. Reese's teammate Haley Van Lith blamed racism for the treatment of Reese at that same press conference. "A lot of the people that are making those comments are being racist towards my teammates," Van Lith said. "Well, we all know they hate Clark, that's why they always blame her for this. But we all know that's just jealousy towards Clark." Sun player DiJonai Carrington, who poked Clark in the eye with her fingernail during Connecticut's Game 1 win over the Fever Sunday, previously criticized Clark for not doing more to call out racism among her own fans in an X post in June. Carrington tweeted, "Dog, how one cannot be bothered by their name being used to justify racism, bigotry, misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia, and the intersectionalities of them all is nuts," Carrington wrote. "We all see the essay. We all have a platform. We all have a voice, and they all hold weight. Silence is a luxury." Many fans got disappointed what Carrington did to Clark on court.
This can't make it up. Sent to my email. Says y'all need Jesus. Professor and renowned activist Dr. Chandra Prescott Weinstein, who attended the game, posted on Twitter, "I had the misfortune of sharing a row with Lady Misogynoir at tonight's Connecticut Sun game. Photo descriptions, a woman in a blue shirt that says, 'Ban nails,' with long paper mocking acrylic nails that are commonly worn by Black women and notably by Sun player DiJonai Carrington."
Clark herself became a target during the playoff series. In Game 1, a foul by DiJonai Carrington left Clark with a black eye, but the physical injury wasn't the only assault she faced. After the last game, Clark revealed she had received an email containing racist slurs and violent threats. On the court, she even confronted a fan in the second row, who was briefly removed by security before being allowed to return. This isn't the first time Clark has addressed fan abuse. Earlier in the season, she expressed frustration with the way her popularity had been weaponized to justify hateful behavior. Let's see what Clark response Caitlin Clark stands up for what's right.
So when people use your name for racism, misogyny, whatever, what is your response to that specifically?
Yeah, I think it's disappointing. I think, everybody in our world, deserves the same amount of respect. The women on our league deserve the same amount of respect. So people should not be using my name to push those agendas.
Demanding respect for all women in the league. She's not afraid to call out those misusing her name to push harmful agendas. Her voice is powerful, reminding everyone that equality and decency should be the standard. Clark's leadership on and off the court is truly inspiring.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
The rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is definitely one of the hottest topics in the WNBA right now. Both players had incredible games, but in a recent podcast, Dan Dockich revealed fascinating insights about their rivalry. He said,
"You know, it is amazing, and this is the stuff that we talked about basically all summer long. It is amazing the impact that Caitlin Clark has. I'm not throwing Angel Reese in there, but others do, and that's a good thing. But Caitlin Clark has literally carried the sport on her back all summer long. Caitlin Clark was the gift."
Many fans agree with Dan's words. Caitlin Clark had been amazing this summer and really had been the star of the sport. It's impressive to see how much she's contributed. The Indiana Fever rookie's arrival in the WNBA had signaled a new era for the league. Combined with the Angel Reese rivalry, not only did women's basketball change on a professional level, but also a college level. However, as recent numbers show, these former NCAA superstars have affected men's college basketball as well. Dan Dockich, in his latest Don't At Me episode, revisits a Fox News Digital article in conversation with two of the top men's recruits in college basketball this year. Let's see what Dan said.
No, Caitlin Clark's game resonated. Caitlin Clark's rivalry with Reese resonated. It resonated with me, which means it resonates with men.
Their competition inspires many and connects with a wide audience, including strong men. Let's see what Carrie Champion said about Clark and Reese rivalry.
The story of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, the rivalry, which really isn't a bad rivalry or a true rivalry on the court, is a good thing.
The rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese might not be super intense, but it's still a great storyline for the game. It adds excitement and keeps fans engaged. Dan said,
I digress. It also resonated apparently with a couple of college basketball's #1 recruits, Dylan Harper and Ace Bradley, two of whom.
It's exciting to see that Caitlin Clark's story is resonating with top recruits like Dylan Harper and Ace Bradley. Their decision to head to Rutgers shows how impactful her game had been. It just goes to show how inspiring she is for the next generation of players. Harper, the #2 nationally ranked recruit in the class of 2024, told Fox how he thinks all players are at the end of the day the same, presumably because of their love for basketball. Fox writer Jackson Thompson also mentions how the NCAA women's final had 18.9 million viewers, while the men had 14.8 million. The younger son of former player Ron Harper, Dylan also revealed how he had always followed women's basketball to a degree because his mom coached teams. Meanwhile, Bailey, the #3 ranked recruit, told the news network that Reese and Clark were what made him follow women's basketball. But if he gets the chance to talk to either of them, who would he choose? I would probably talk to Angel Reese, her competitiveness for sure. What keeps her driving? Dan said.
FYI, the women's basketball tournament had 18.9 million viewers, while the men had 14.8 viewers. Ride or die with Caitlin Clark, baby.
While many believe, including Dan Dockich, that CC has carried women's basketball on her shoulders these last few years, her rivalry with Angel Reese is also what has made it more interesting. But the former basketball pro also believes that the WNBA was not ready for this boom. Well, let's see what Clark said about Reese.
I don't think I've ever been her teammate before with even a USA basketball or anything like that. So I know people are going to be really excited about it, but I hope it doesn't take away from everybody else. Like, this is a huge accomplishment for everybody on Team USA and everybody on Team WNBA. Like, they all deserve the same praise. Like, I don't want it to take away from any of that and just be the focal point of All-Star Weekend, because that's not fair to them. And, you know, obviously this is something that's really hard to accomplish. So the best we can celebrate all of them will be great. And just going to obviously soak in the experience, because you never know if you're ever going to be able to get back there, and it'll be fun for all of us.
She is amazing and respectful. How could we not support her? No matter what critics said, let's see Clark record breaking performance.
Corrals it, veers into space. Here's Clark. Clark looking to take it around Lloyd. Clark bodies in and finishes. Clark trying to shake Whitcomb. Step back is good. In the mid-range for Caitlin Clark. Miss there from Lloyd. Clark the fling ahead. Oh, what a time! And Mitchell lays it in! And Caitlin Clark officially has the most assists ever.
Assist, another get ahead. Caitlin Clark, head up. Right in stride for Kelby Mitchell. She does not have to alter her speed one bit.
Here's Katie Lou Samuelson. Can't hit the three in the corner. Boston the rebound. Clark a good look. She got it.
You had this tornado hit, and you weren't ready, says Dan Dockich on Caitlin Clark. Dan Dockich has long been a Caitlin Clark fan, and in the discourse surrounding her popularity in the league, he's usually been on the positive side of it. While some dislike a rookie getting this much attention, others want her to be in the spotlight even more. But Dockich believes that while she's changing the game, the WNBA is not dealing with it properly. Let's see what Dan said in response to her haters.
Only should you have known that Caitlin Clark was going to be a star, you should have prepared for it. You should have said, look, this is what is getting ready to happen. So let's do everything to enhance. Meaning, let's make sure she's on the Olympic team. Let's make sure that other NBA women are smart enough not to be morons to her. But that didn't happen. And they had to go through all of this garbage. I mean, all of this crap, and Kathy Engelbert didn't understand it.
Dan is right. Caitlin Clark's talent was obvious from the start, and it's frustrating that she wasn't fully supported. And it's disappointing to see her face negativity from others in the league. Caitlin Clark had the option of playing a 5th year for Iowa under the additional COVID-19 year, but she chose to graduate on time and enter the W. While many thought her college success wouldn't translate into success as a professional, the Fever rookie has clearly proven them wrong. So has Angel Reese. With CC leading the league in assists and the Sky player in rebounds at one point in time, their rookie year has sensationalized the sport, even influencing the men's side of it. And it's only the beginning.
Because the African-American lesbian players were going overboard in their racism and sexism on Caitlin Clark. Lynn and the WNBA had to send different videos et al. To the league to get this crap to stop, and the league has, for the most part, stopped.
This shocking admission reveals the internal struggles that Caitlin Clark has faced, not just from the fans, but even from within the WNBA itself. It's hard to believe, but the racism and sexism directed at her were so rampant that the league had to step in.
It seems on some social media channels to have taken a darker turn, a more menacing turn, where race has been introduced into the conversation, where sexuality is sometimes introduced into the conversation. How do you try and stay ahead of that, try and tamp it down, or act as a league when two of your most visible players are involved, not personally, it would seem, but their fan bases are involved in saying some very uncharitable things about.
This was the turning point when the conversations around Caitlin Clark's performance started moving away from basketball and into darker territory. Race and sexuality became the focus of an escalating controversy.
One thing that's great about the league right now, we do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. Like, the WNBA players are really looked at now as cultural icons.
True.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that Bird Magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry, one white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But
while Engelbert tries to frame this as a historic rivalry moment, it's far from that. The issues surrounding Clark and her competitors aren't just about sports. It's a reflection of the larger problems in the league.
Well, I mean, might as well. Caitlin Clark, they got their ass beat last night. But, man, Charles Barkley said this a couple days ago, that the WNBA could not have effed this up more. Kathy Engelbert, who is the commissioner, is facing criticism from members of the Players Association for not condemning racism and homophobia, which was, of course, and inevitably tied back to Caitlin Clark.
Barkley lays it all out. This was a failure on multiple levels, and now Clark is at the center of it all. The league's inability to handle these tensions has left everyone watching.
You answered them in private. Awful Announcing said her response was not only lackluster. Oh, really? It lacked of any substance. Well, so what? She's right. This is months ago, you idiots at Awful Announcing. What are you talking about? Engelbert's word salad reply.
Even media outlets are calling out the league's inability to tackle these issues head on. Caitlin Clark may be a top performer, but the WNBA's handling of the controversies surrounding her is far from winning any accolades. The relationships I create here are my legacy. Caitlin Clark quite clearly announced back in Iowa just what she thought mattered the most to her. And now, as she continues to thrill the WNBA crowd with her record-breaking displays, she stands by her words. When the generational talent was drafted as the first overall pick this year, she was not the only one joining the league after shining for the Hawkeyes. Kate Martin was another Iowa alum who entered the big stage, joining the Las Vegas Aces. As their third encounter comes close, Clark is ready to host her former teammate just as nicely. In her recent media availability, the Fever Guard talked about welcoming Kate Martin to Indianapolis. She said, "It's definitely pretty weird to us, like we were teammates for 4 years. We got very used to that and now going against. So then like you love it, you joke about it, but at the same time, it just takes some getting used to. I know a lot of our coaches will be here on the same night. Looks like a fun thing for all of them to be able to do too. And sharing that memory and that joy with us. But I'm just super proud of her and happy for her." The 22-year-old guard also hinted towards her former Iowa head coach, Lisa Bluter, making an attendance when Fever will lock horns with the Aces on Wednesday. Both of the WNBA rookies played 4 years together with Bluter at the helm and led the Hawkeyes to back-to-back NCAA finals. When the duo bid adieu to their alma mater, the 63-year-old also decided to step down from the coaching role. While Caitlin Clark has definitely been the talk of the town with her exceptional rookie season, her best friend Martin is yet to have a firm grip with aces. Nevertheless, she has always found her college best friend acknowledging her and their friendship. The friendship between the opponent rookies, back in May, the former college teammates faced for the very first time in W. While the excitement among enthusiasts was obvious, Clark only made the matchup even more interesting when she opened up on her bond with the Aces rookie. Kate is obviously one of my best friends, somebody that was with me all 4 years at Iowa. I was the person that kind of begged her to come back for her 6th year, said the Fever number 22. After taking a red shirt year and benefiting from the NCAA's COVID-19 eligibility extension, Martin announced in February 2023 that she would be returning for a 6th and final season with the Hawkeyes. She, along with Clark, led the team to the finals, but could not sweep the championship after falling to the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Caitlin isn't much of a defender either. 2/3 of the way through the year, it was clear she was on an all-time record turnover pace. And for 2/3 of the year, Caitlin's three-point shooting ranked near the bottom of the league in percentage. I still get frustrated because she won't shoot enough in fourth quarters because she defers to her vets. Angel Reese is actually a poor defender. Angel's team has now fallen to 11-22, so she isn't having nearly the impact that Caitlin is having on her team. Angel Reese is better than Caitlin Clark, is saying Rodman was better than Michael Jordan. The truth is, Angel's a poor shooter of the basketball. I don't know any other way to say it. She's just a poor shooter.
Skip didn't hold back when it came to discussing two of the WNBA's most talked about rookies, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Let's see how Skip absolutely destroyed these young stars.
Caitlin isn't much of a defender either, though she can and she will steal the basketball. She's 15th in the WNBA in steals.
First up, let's talk about Caitlin Clark. Now, we all know she's been making waves in the league, but Skip's not buying all the hype. He starts off by dropping this bomb. Caitlin isn't much of a defender either. Ouch. That's gotta hurt for all the Clark fans out there. But wait, there's more.
2/3 of the way through the year, it was clear she was on an all-time record turnover pace, the likes of which I have never witnessed. It's almost like she was trying to turn the basketball over.
Skip doesn't stop there. He goes on to absolutely roast Clark's ball handling skills. According to Skip, 2/3 of the way through the year, it was clear she was on an all-time record turnover pace. An all-time record? That's not the kind of history you want to be making in your rookie year, Caitlin.
Caitlin's three-point shooting ranked near the bottom of the league in percentage. Yet, you're right. The truth is...
But hold on to your seats, folks, because Skip's just warming up. He then takes aim at Clark's shooting, saying, for 2/3 of the year, Caitlin's three-point shooting ranked near the bottom of the league in percentage. Near the bottom of the league? That's not what you expect from someone who's supposed to be a sharpshooter.
I still get frustrated because she won't shoot enough in fourth quarters because she defers to her vets. She's got horrendous pressure on her.
And just when you think Skip's done with Clark, he delivers this final blow. I still get frustrated because she won't shoot enough in fourth quarters because she defers to her vets. Looks like Skip thinks Clark needs to step up and take charge in crunch time. No mercy from Bayless today. Now let's turn our attention to Angel Reese. If you thought Skip was harsh on Clark, wait till you hear what he had to say about Reese.
Angel Reese is actually a poor defender, Brittany.
Right out of the gate, Skip drops this bombshell. Angel Reese is actually a poor defender. Wow. For someone who's known for her physical presence on the court, that's a pretty damning assessment from Skip.
Angel's team has now fallen to 11-22, so she isn't having nearly the impact that Caitlin is having on her team.
But Skip's just getting started. He goes on to question Reese's impact on her team, stating, Angel's team has now fallen to 11-22, so she isn't having nearly the impact that Caitlin is having on her team. Ouch. Skip's basically saying Reese isn't living up to the hype and isn't making her team better. That's gotta sting.
Angel Reese is better than Caitlin Clark, is saying Rodman was better than Michael Jordan, or Ben Wallace was better than Kobe.
And if you thought that was harsh, wait till you hear this. Skip actually compares the idea of Reese being better than Clark to saying Rodman was better than Michael Jordan. Talk about a brutal analogy. Skip's basically saying anyone who thinks Reese is better than Clark is out of their mind.
Angel's a poor shooter of the basketball. I don't know any other way to say it. She's just a poor shooter. She's now 38% from the floor, not from three. She's 2 of 12 from three. That's 17%.
But the knockout punch comes when Skip talks about Reese's shooting. He doesn't mince words here, folks. Skip straight up says, "The truth is and was a poor shooter of the basketball. I don't know any other way to say it. She's just a poor shooter." No sugarcoating there. Skip's calling it like he sees it, and he sees Reese as a liability on offense. Now you might be thinking, wow, Skip really went in on these two, and you'd be right. But here's where things get interesting. Despite all these criticisms, Skip actually ends up praising Clark quite a bit throughout the rest of the segment. He calls her a once-a-generation passer and even suggests she could be pushing for MVP. So what's the deal? Is Skip playing both sides? Or is he just being brutally honest about both the strengths and weaknesses of these young stars? One thing's for sure. Skip Bayless knows how to stir up controversy. By pointing out these flaws in Clark and Reese's games, he's guaranteed to get people talking. And isn't that what sports media is all about? But let's take a step back for a moment. Are Skip's criticisms fair? Is he being too harsh on these rookies who are still finding their footing in the league? Or is this tough love exactly what they need to hear to improve their games? It's worth noting that both Clark and Reese have had incredible success in their college careers. They're adjusting to a new level of play, facing the best of the best night in and night out. Growing pains are to be expected, but in the high-stakes world of professional sports, you're only as good as your last game. Skip's comments raise some interesting questions about expectations in the WNBA. Are we putting too much pressure on these young stars to be perfect right out of the gate? Or is this level of scrutiny just part of being a high-profile athlete? One thing's for certain. Both Clark and Reese have shown flashes of brilliance in their rookie seasons. They've also both shown areas where they need to improve. That's the nature of the game. Even the greatest players have aspects of their game they need to work on. So, what do you think? Did Skip Bayless go too far in his criticisms? Or is he just doing his job by providing honest, unfiltered analysis? Are Clark and Reese getting a raw deal, or do they need to step up their games? Whatever your opinion, one thing's for sure. The WNBA is more exciting than ever with young talents like Clark and Reese in the league. And as long as there are players making waves, you can bet Skip Bayless will be there with his hot takes, ready to stir the pot and keep us all talking. Caitlin Clark's second triple-double also makes her the third player in WNBA history to finish a game with 20-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, 10-plus assists, 3-plus STL. This tweet alone shows how Caitlin Clark continues to make history. In tonight's game, she once again showcased why she's one of the most dynamic rookies the league has ever seen. If an argument for Caitlin Clark as the MVP had to be made, there are undeniable factors supporting it. Indiana Fever has gone from winning a dozen games last season to 18-16, improved to a 500 and are real playoff contenders. Meanwhile, Clark's picking up 3-point and assist records as a great passer and helping her team. So when the star rookie recorded her second career triple-double tonight, she aided Aaliyah Boston in making history herself. Not to be underscored, Boston had an impressive outing that puts her in league with WNBA titans like Lisa Leslie and Brittany Griner. Indiana Fever toppled the Los Angeles Sparks 93-86 with Aaliyah Boston recording a monster double-double with 24 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 assists, going 62.5% from the field. She's now only the third player in WNBA history to have multiple games in one regular season with 20-plus points, 14-plus rebounds, 4-plus assists, and 60% field goal percentage. The only others who have accomplished this are Lisa Leslie and the one who Boston recently clashed with, Brittany Griner. Caitlin Clark notched the second triple-double of her career, 24 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds in this game. She's the only rookie to do it twice in the league. She also made 4 threes and had 3 steals. She got her first triple-double in July over New York Liberty. Her selfless passing style stood out in this game over the sparks that a few ex-users compared her to Magic Johnson, the Lakers legend and Sparks co-owner, and it definitely enabled Aaliyah to record her own individual accolade.
Or Timmy Finlay not shooting the three that easily or that comfortably. I don't know if that's comfortable, but it's nice by Caitlin Clark.
The buzz and attention surrounding Caitlin Clark's game are unlike anything seen in the league until now. The jersey sales, the sold-out stadiums, the peak viewership, this massive wave of popularity mirrors the excitement that swept through the NBA in the 80s when Michael Jordan became a household name. So WNBA analyst Nancy Lieberman believes that Clark deserves admiration as MJ does, as opposed to the lack of recognition or criticism that may come her way. Calling out the critics and haters, Lieberman on the Stephen A. Smith Show said, "I just don't understand people. Now you have signature shoes for both men and women because of what MJ did and how he and his team constructed business. Caitlin is doing that right now, and she should be supported and not maligned for that." Lieberman's claims about Clark's influence are understandable when we bring Clark's $28 million Nike deal, which is the most lucrative shoe deal in WNBA history. Clark is soon expected to receive her own signature shoe as well. Jordan's wasn't quite hushed itself. 5-year, $2.5 million deal, 3 times that of any other deal in the league. Thus drawing parallels, Lieberman continues on to say that it is jealousy that is driving the lack of support toward Caitlin Clark as previously observed towards other notable players like Jordan or Tiger Woods. It's not a Caitlin thing, it's a people thing. I mean, people were so jealous of Michael Jordan back in 1984. UNC Chicago Stadium was half empty prior to him arriving. The stadiums were filling up then. TV wanted him and the Bulls on every game, she says. Expanding on her point, Lieberman further exampled Woods as the catalyst to change in golf in terms of purse and TV ratings. All of a sudden, he gets to a certain point in his career and people are jealous and envious, you know, Lieberman notes. Clark's impact? Within just 20 minutes, fans snapped up Clark's WNBA All-Star jersey in both colors, selling out completely. The Indiana Fever leads the league in attendance, recording a 265% jump from last season with a turn-up number of 503,921 across 31 games. Lieberman's opinions were a continuation of her praise for the rookie from her most recent game. Nancy Lieberman expresses her gratitude for Caitlin Clark. Instead of just urging the fans, Lieberman took the lead herself. During the broadcast of the Fever vs. Dallas Wings game, the analyst had high praise for the rookie. Fully aware that her bold statement might draw criticism, Lieberman chose to speak her mind. She thanked Clark for drawing attention to the game. The WNBA 2024 season began with the highest attendance ever seen in 27 years. The continuous rise in viewership backs the claim, with the games averaging 1.32 million viewers in the first month, nearly triple last year's average. Fans voting for the All-Star has been the highest this year. What Caitlin Clark has done for the game is generational. As a baller to a baller, I just want to say thank you to you, Caitlin Clark, for just lifting our game up, Lieberman said. And she isn't the first one to think so. She added, "You and so many great players, but what you're doing, you're going to make all these women multi-millionaires one day like Tiger did, like Michael Jordan did. And we shouldn't hate on her. We should celebrate her, not tolerate her." The growing crowds in the stadium are live proof of Clark's impact. The Fever rookie has undeniably transformed women's basketball, and she indeed does it in a way reminiscent of what MJ once did for the NBA.
Congratulations. Thank you. I'm not the